Yeah, what Magnanimous needs to show is that they need to up their objective efficiency, which is something that you don't hear a lot when you think of Ryan Noob, right? Like Ryan Noob, you think of him as the objective guru. He's so objective efficient. But what we've seen in the Pro Series is that they have this tendency to not be able to efficiently chain kills into objective gameplay. Maybe that'll change this time around, but we're in our first game. Frosty's immediately pushing forward. All the confidence in the world, is gonna find 2 players at P2, and Ryan Noob is gonna be able to take him down. But is the camo still up? I wasn't able to see if the camo was taken. I don't see any players going back for it. And there we go, Snakebite. He was that player that went for that camouflage early on and got the quick burn.
Yeah, now of course we're on with Frosty, who's just immediately being incredibly aggressive, jumping down in here to the bottom of the base, picking off 1 kill there, nading forward. Doesn't quite see that player on the right, but looks like he's going to go for a pull immediately out the front. All 4 players down for blue. That's going to give him a good chance. Makes a little hiccup there, but this was going to be a real easy first cap, I think, for this the Sentinels roster.
You could tell the game plan, like that Ryan Noob went all the way back into the opposing base. He wanted to get a counter pull while they were overextended. The problem is you have to win individuals when that happens, and 4 players immediately went down for Magnanimous, but they're responding quite well. That mishap for Frosty, where he was running the flag through top mid but didn't quite hit his clamber, could cost them dearly, because Ryan Noob has his flag and he's running it past the 50-yard line, and all the slays are going in favor of Magnanimous right now. This would be a killer counter cap if they can get it in, but they have 2 players already defending the flag area, and interesting strategy from them. They both go into that attic. They're going to get hit up by nades. You normally expect them to go pull out the flag, try to buy some times, but Snakebite able to get into that base and clear out all 3 of those players, and now it's 4 down temporarily as Snakebite goes under the base, but they spawn on him. Oh my, Snakebite, he did not expect that whatsoever, but they're still going to win those fights. But great job by Magnanimous to be to persevere through that start. I mean, a couple times they've been 4 down. That flag got all the way back. They were able to get the counter cap in. Now the question is can you start like stabilizing this game? Because right now it still is clearly momentum in the favor of Sentinels.
Yeah, it definitely is, but I'd like to just point out, back on that first flag cap, things happen so fast. King Nick played that really, really well. He made sure to slay out in the bottom of the enemy base, and then he just immediately went top P to push with his team to make sure that that flag cap was secured. Now, of course, we're seeing a little bit more back and forth, both teams recognizing, okay, we can both do this. Another quick flag cap that I completely missed by Sentinels, as now Rhinoob's stuck in the bottom of the base, and this is really what you don't want. Snakebite having that camo, you're stuck in the bottom of your base. This is a good setup here from Sentinels.
Yeah, now all it is just finding those first picks and pushing through. And we see Snakebite just putting in damage. He just made 3 players one shot, and his team is going to collapse in. He's going to find 2 of them. The third goes down. The last guy's in the car door. And you can just see this Sentinels roster swarming. Once again, though, getting that bottom base spawn, which is so interesting because Sentinels hasn't gone and blocked the car bubble. It's not as if they're applying massive pressure to the car side. So the couple times that Magnanimous getting that bottom base spawn could come to save them, as Rain is in position to stop the flag carrier. Only 1 player trippy back in the base for the Sentinels roster to potentially get this flag in, but we see Magnanimous fighting tooth and nail to get this return. They're gonna hop on that flag and get it, and once again we could see another counter cap from this Magnanimous roster, as Spartan shows that he is still hot. His break hasn't affected him much as he puts down the perfect kill, and they're running this flag past the 50-yard mark.
Absolutely beautiful. Love to see them almost tie this one up here as they just make that incredible defense there and push to be able to get those slays. As you said, Spartan just absolutely hitting all of his shots, though it looks like there is going to be some contest here. Royal 2, Rain going down, Ryan Noobs taking this top middle position, picking off that kill, and that is not going to be in just yet, as now they're going to sort of flip the button here. And this is really, you know, we're seeing a lot of like counter cap potential here, right? It's like one team gets the flag almost there, then they're able to be defended against, and then they immediately go for that counter, and truth of a map just really lends itself to that, and that is going to call it for our game number 1, 3-1 in favor of our Sentinel roster here.
Yeah, and the problem is that Magnanimous the entire game were playing reactionary Halo, right? You have to be proactive with your movements. You have to be the player in position to make flag runs. You can't kill in the transition and then have the opportunity for counter caps and expect to win the game that way. Because if you're only scoring on counter caps, that requires 3 flag pulls of the other team almost getting the flag back. And that's essentially what they had. They just couldn't clutch up at the end. What was interesting to me, though, was how Ryan Noob was in that base. He was ready to fight the player at P-Door, but he doesn't opt to pull the flag whatsoever. And, you know, I know it's like the small things, but he pulls that flag, right? And then they at least have to return it. So it's going to buy them 5, maybe, you know, 3 to 5 seconds if they're really fast to get on it. But for how fast that game was, we saw a ton of action. And, you know, if King Nick starts getting hot, you know, I don't expect him to have another 3-12 game. I think Magnanimous could put up a bit of a fight, but we saw in the stat sheet, CTF, not their favorite game type. They're very poor on it. When we get to the other objectives, that's where I could see them putting up more of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, this one, right, like you said, requires them to actually have a good setup and then move a player across the map to be able to lock in that flag cap. And here, you know, they were really just playing on their back foot and getting a little bit, I don't want to say lucky. I mean, those really interesting spawns, you know, at the bottom of the base. This, I thought, you know, beautiful play by Snakebite here. He just rolls through with this camo and makes this flagpole really happen for his team. But you can see too, they're just consistently like running the flag through with the right supports on the outsides of the map, just sort of like forcing all of the enemy into the center, and that's exactly what you want to do.
Well, now we're moving on to Coliseum Slayer, and this is not a map that you wanted to see if you're Magnanimous, because you have a man named Frosty on the other side who's gonna get that sniper rifle, and there's no one who's more effective with it on the map of Coliseum. We always see him go on the highlight reel. Look at him cross-mapping Ryan Noob right off the start as 3 players from Magnanimous head towards the snipe side, and Frosty is being ultra aggressive, trying to get behind these players, making them one shot. Can't quite find the finishes. Finally finds Spartan and is trying to stay alive. Rain gonna be able to take him down. Snakebite was able to get away with the rockets. Sniper rifle not quite found. There we go. Rain just got the sniper rifles. We're gonna have a sniper rocket fight as Snakebite is that is an interesting fight. You don't really see the cross map rocket into a snipe fight that often. But Snakebite is just in position trying to find his pick, and a pick he finds on Ryan Noob. And now they're all trapped on the snipe side. The question is, can they find the pivotal fights to win? Spartan found one, but as he does, 3 players go down for Magnanimous, and control firmly in the favor of Sentinels. I want to see someone find that sniper rifle. Maybe it got played off the map because no one really went for it. So I imagine that sniper rifle played off the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure there, but watching Snakebite just sort of control the entire bottom of the base as he's moving through with those rockets, I mean, only that man would be able to just control that area. Almost, you know, be very exposed in my opinion, but absolutely just find the right kills back and forth. Moving on board now, King Nick trying to make something happier as Trippy and his squad sort of take over that snipe side. And in this Slayer game, you know, they're going up 4 kills here, and Magnanimous snapping right back, though. Sparty with a beautiful grenade. Frosty, of course, again, cross-map a little bit as he now takes a top rocket position as opposed to what we saw for Snipe. He picks up this carbine now. Yeah, I love what I'm seeing here of this Magnanimous team. Like, they're setting up well. They're not taking fights necessarily that they can't do. Snakebite getting caught out of there, and this one could be back and forth. They're pretty much tying it right back up again.
Yeah, look at that well-timed flank from Ryan Noob, right? They were distracting heavily on the snipe side, and Frosty thought, no way anyone's going to come up rocks. Ryan Noob catches him with that timing, and that's one thing Ryan Noob does better than most players, is that he just has this innate timing to know when to go on the flank and know when to get behind players and make some action happen. He goes down, leaving 2 rockets for Rain to pick up, and Rain immediately fires off one, can't find the kill, and just wastes both of them. He doesn't want to give the rockets over to Sentinels and potentially give them a catalyst to open up a lead. And now it's going to be 2 down once again for each team. They're going to be jockeying out over for this snipe control because it's going to be coming up in 30 seconds. So we're going to see who comes out on top. And I imagine Sentinels is going to play this very heavy. Frosty wants this next sniper rifle. If he gets it, I think that's how they're going to establish their lead and try to get away with it, as Frosty's finding kill after kill as 3 players momentarily go down for Magnanimous.
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen really much use of the rockets, and then that being said, I think that sniper must have fallen off the map or nobody really picked it up. So there really haven't been many power weapons, you know, making super influence in this game yet. And of course, we still see a a lead here, 21-16, just slowly crawling, as now Frosty does have the sniper in his hands, but he's going to fall right off the map, maybe not losing his footing a little bit there. So again, sniper not going to be in play as, Magnanimous cuts this lead again by a couple.
So two things either happen. Either that was a play call from Sentinels where they're like, we're just not even going to let them have the opportunity to get the sniper rifle to get themselves back in the game, because they're a team that's like, when we have the lead, they need something extra to get it back from us, right? They're not just going to win on a 4v4 pistol gameplay. They need a sniper, a rocket to give them that boost to get back into games. So maybe that's what's going through the mind. The other option is that he just missed his drop back clamber, and he meant to go down and clamber back up, and unfortunately he went back a little bit too far. I think Frost, it might be likely that they're like, let's just play it. Like they had something in the comms. I was like, I think we're gonna lose this control, which I mean they eventually did. Like all these players coming up, but what a nade from Frosty. The look away. Now he's gonna get the rockets. He's going for the triple kill, and he hits it. Frosty with the early trip, the rocket from cross map. What was that? That was a grenade, a pistol, and a rocket shot. He's already pushing back into the base. Man, we're seeing prime Frosty in our first series.
Dude, using every single weapon on the map to its best effect. Oh my gosh, just absolutely on point with his awareness, understanding where all these players are. The call-outs really vibing with them, is now, we do see this in a very back and forth as King Nick hits a perfect kill. They're trying to control the sniper side. A couple members from Sentinels trying to do work as King Nick and his buddy just jumping around here, trying to avoid the damage from all the grenades, wasting them out as best they can. They are in a tough spot right now. King Nick going down. A couple members from Magnanimous. This is now Royal 2 with the flank, and yep, they're going to extend their lead again a little bit.
Yeah, it's always a scary situation when you're on a team and then all of a sudden you see three players that are one shot standing within a 2-meter radius of each other. That's what happens to Magnanimous, and they immediately got punished for it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the best of the best teams and just the teams that have really great players on it. They know how to take advantage of every situation. Like Magnanimous caught severely out of position. They weren't ready for the push on the snipe side. They were made weak early on, and then their escape routes were all the same, so they ended up congregating over in that oven, and it cost them a 3 to 4 kill swing, and snipe control going back in favor of Sentinels. And they're so hard to pry out. One, because they're not just going to let you come in and slay them out. If they feel the pressure and they feel as if they can't win, they'll just back out, reposition, and fight for it once again, because they know their entry lanes, they know how to frag it out, and they're just so efficient on Coliseum Slayer. I honestly don't think there's a team that's better at it, because they just have this great awareness of how to push, where to be. Their positioning is better than anyone else's I've ever seen, and they just have players that are so special with the power weapons in their hand. As I'm speaking, Royal 2 going to be getting this rocket launcher to work with, and it's quickly just gotten out of hand for this Magnanimous roster. It was very close. It was 30-30 at one point. Now 45-37. We've seen a big swing in the favor of Sentinels.
Yeah, well, we've got Rain here with the sniper rifle, though, so if they're going to make their comeback, they do need to do it right now. Down, I think, the biggest deficit they've been down in, 48 to go, only 2 more kills, as Royal 2's going to fire that rocket, get the kill on Ryan Noob, and this is pretty much going to be all she wrote here. Magnanimous going to go 2 down in our first pool play series here of the day in this pro tournament.
Frosty had to get the last sniper shot in before he ended the game. I think he wanted to see a bit more of it. That sniper rifle really nullified on that map. You don't see it that often when you see the Sentinels roster playing, because what you'll normally see is you'll see Frosty pick up that sniper rifle, and then where we saw him in that final life, he loves to live in that position and punish players for it. But really, Rockets, what made the big difference right there? We saw Frosty with that massive triple kill, and then Royal 2 able to secure the game with his final 2 rockets, as every player on the side of Sentinels at least going to be going even or positive, and really just a solid end game. It was as if they played consistent and constant. It was just constant pressure, and it made it so that this Magnanimous roster couldn't let up at any point. They couldn't make any mistakes, and then they made the fatal mistake, right, where they weren't ready for the snipe side push. Players get weak very fast, and they all chose the same exit route, and then we saw 3 players that were one shot right in the oven, and that was just a pack of wolves for the Sentinels roster to come in and clean up their meat, their prey, over in that oven, and it gave them that 3-4 kill swing and map control to go with it, and really secured the game in that last bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point, and what I love is the consistency here, and of course, seeing Frosty here with his consistent accuracy with those long-range rockets, that grenade, everything, right? But talking a little bit more about, you know, this whole game, right? We kind of saw back and forth, at least in the beginning. I think we were tied 30-all at one point, but the consistency of the Sentinels team, you know, when they have that right advantage, they know where everybody are, they're going to gang up on them, go up 4 kills, and then immediately turn around, you know, still being very conscious of where the next spawns are coming and just set up properly to turn that into more. And going into our third game here on the rig, Garrett, do you see, what do we really need to see out of Magnanimous, or what kind of slip-ups maybe from Sentinels for them to lose this one?
Well, we just need to see Magnanimous be playing proactive Halo instead of reactionary Halo. That's their biggest problem, right? Every single time it seems as if they're responding to what Sentinels is doing, and that's where Strongholds could come in handy as Frosty. I mean, if Frosty plays like this, then there's no shot, but 2 kills in the favor of Frosty. But they need to be quicker on the rotations, they need to recognize positions faster, and just be able to out-rotate Sentinels in this third game. It's going to be a tough road, Frosty, we say he's good with the sniper rifle, he's just as good with this railgun. He knows exactly when to let it go. He doesn't let people out of his reticle. You can basically guarantee 4 kills every single time he gets this railgun.
He is sniping with this railgun. He's sniping with his grenades too. I don't know if you saw that, but he was just probing with grenades and just getting hits off. Like, their awareness of where these players are is just insane there. As Rain gets taken down by Royal 2, switching on to Ryan Noobs. Let's see what Magnanimous can do here. Is there, you know, early in the game they now have control, and Ryan Noob with a very solid triple there. And you're just going to go for a full control here, or at least, you know, take bottom tower position. I kind of like this play.
This is what I love about Ryan Noob, right? Is he puts himself in these middle positions that he can quickly escape into a perimeter and make the objective play. So he's always going to be looking for opportunities to get quick multi-kills, which he does so effectively, and then he immediately goes into the objective and starts quick rotation. So even though we had a stellar start from Frosty and the crew, Magnanimous respond really well. They get themselves in the position, and now they have firm control. They have all the Sentinels trapped in that back basement slash bunker area, and now it's just about winning their individuals and keeping them back. As we see, is that Frosty that just pushes straight forward and takes down that spawn. And you see him go immediately into Carbine, right? He wants to flip that spawn out for his team, and I think he was effective with it. He was able to get some more map control for his team, as we see him just in the back base, and all of a sudden all of Magnanimous spawn in that bunker. And it's so crazy how one player's play can switch the entire game's momentum. I mean, everything was going in favor of Magnanimous right there. We see Frosty win the pivotal fight, push out the spawn, 4 splits, and then it just crumbled the entire defense of Magnanimous, and now they're in a devastating trip cap, and they need to find a way to break out. You see them all in that back bunker area. They have no shot of getting out without getting shot at, and they're going to lose the railgun and potentially the camouflage to go with it.
Gosh, and Frosty just barely able to stay alive. Oh, he dies right there, though. Now it looks like this could be the opportunity, but Trippy has the camo, and that's going to defend that base pretty well. I would be surprised if he doesn't get the better end here of Ryan Noobs. He does. Now he has the railgun as well, and this one could be a really big you know, extension here of the lead as they go ahead and take it. Now 35 and counting. Trippy gonna get this interesting combo with the railgun and the scatter shot, locking down this back rail position here.
Yeah, you know, we have the Predator combo when they have the camo and the railgun. When they have the camo, rail, and scatter, we gotta think of a new name for it. Maybe like Instinctive Predator or something. But once again, it's one player's play that makes the big difference in that spot. Like Magnanimous in a devastating trip cap, they need to break out. Ryan Noob immediately flies into that basement, able to find Frosty and pull Trippy back, and they're able to get a home base because of it, you know, and it alleviated some of the pressure. Like they were in a tough spot in that trip cap. Unfortunately, you know, Sentinels is really fast to respond. They don't let up on the pressure. They're immediately trip capping once again, and now they're just putting in shots and making sure that they keep these players back and on their back foot, splitting getting out on spawns. They just can't get four together and find a pick to get themselves out. We're seeing a very dominant Sentinels come out early on in this tournament.
Yeah, well, right there, it looked like Sparty got a perfect kill off stream, and then Royal stuck in the gutters there, got killed. So this now gives the opportunity for 2 strongholds to be captured by Magnanimous. Now again, Snakebite, they guys favoring the bottom of the map here, and it's, yes, it catches people off guard, but you know, it's certainly not advantageous to be able to get away easily, as now he's going to get taken out as well. This time now, King Nick with this railgun going to try and make the defend on that base. He's on a killing spree. He definitely backs down to try and save his life, rotating back over towards nests, towards bunker, as they're going to keep this one. But now another capture going to go in favor. 66 points, about 2/3 of the way there for them, 1/3 of the way there for Magnanimous, as King Nick's just trying to stay alive here. He needs some more help from his team. I'm not seeing as much teamwork as I would like to from this Magnanimous squad.
Oh god, yeah, Frosty's trying to meme a little bit with that needle. Yeah. King Nick takes him down. But what we see is, like, everything that Magnanimous does, Sentinels just does it twice as good.
Yeah.
Because we saw 30 unanswered points from Magnanimous, and then all of a sudden Sentinels respond and they get just about 60 points of unanswered time. We see Magnanimous make their break and they hold it for about a minute. We see Sentinels make their break and then they hold it for 2 minutes. You know, it's like everything that Magnanimous does, Sentinels just does it a little bit better, and it's just really just been the difference in this game. It's been so hard for this Magnanimous roster break out. A Snakebite has a 1v2 to stop the basement. He finds one with the nade and he's going to challenge Spartan in the basement, and that's, Ryan Noob in the basement, and look at those crispy shots from Snakebite. He single-handedly stops the basement, buys more time for Sentinels, and they should be able to keep control as they'll just flip back the BR base. They'll keep Nest for now, and now that big play from PJ is just allowing them to maintain their control for longer and apply more pressure. Keep the trip gap as Frosty. Beautiful job at the drive. And I think that is Louis V. Titan, aka Brandon, being our driver right there. He found the animation right away, and I love it from Frosty, man. He's feeling a little disrespectful today.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely just on point right now, not scared of this team at all. And there's something to be said for that in terms of the confidence. I mean, you mentioned that these guys are just doing everything, twice as good. And really, I think that comes down to a couple things. One, the synergy with your team. And two, just like the confidence you have, because these guys all have similar skills. I mean, no doubt, right? If we look at the stats, Frosty's got insane numbers in general. But I think that a large part of that goes to how well you work with your team and just the right angles to take. For the most part, we saw just the survivability of the Sentinels team be a little bit better. They're able to sneak around corners and catch the Magnanimous players by surprise.
I mean, what a performance from Sentinels, right? And that's a performance that Magnanimous can be like, okay, we went blow for blow in parts of the map with Sentinels, right? The Slayer was close until the end. We had our opportunities on the flag, and then we had a very hot start on the strongholds. It's just being able to keep that constant, right? It's the consistency that is lacking from this Magnanimous roster, especially when they're playing against the tier 1 organizations, and that's where they're really going to have to find their improvement. They're in a tough pool, right? So they have Sentinels, and then they also have Elevate to deal with, and I have a feeling we're going to see this Magnanimous roster back in round 3, because I think it's going to be deciding between either Elevate and Magnanimous who's going to be going in that into the final bracket. And honestly, just it's unfortunate that they got put in that position, but they had to do better in the open bracket. If they didn't get 4th place, they'd be in a better pool. They'd have a better shot. Magnanimous, they got the hard match out of the way at the beginning. They're going to be able to warm up. The question is, can they play consistent and find their wins and get themselves into that bracket? Because it's not an easy road for them to find themselves in the top 8 bracket.
Oh, and even moving forward, I mean, the team that sent them home, Ice or Baba Booey, I think as they're known now, they lost to them in the winners bracket, and they lost to them in the in the losers as well. So if that team makes it to the final 8, they're going to have a tough go of it with them as well.
Honestly, I wonder if we have some status updates around. So if anyone knows about what's happening in the other matches, just let us know, because honestly, a quick 3-0 from Sentinels, which was, to be expected at some point, right? Like we knew Sentinels was going to come out hot. We knew opportunities for Magnanimous would come, but no one is ever betting against Sentinels in this spot. And honestly, they just show themselves to be the better team. We're gonna see some. If Frosty would have gotten that kill with the Needler, man, that would have been just some salt on the wound. It probably would have sent King Nick over the edge. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I want to see this. Did we already see the animation? I want to see the animation, Taylor. I want to see them.
No,
I want to see Frosty just put him to the ground.
That's coming up next. I mean, the fact that Frosty has animations turned on, I wonder, because I've always done that for, you know, the medals in Halo 5, have it on. But obviously, when you're playing, you know, competitively, you don't want it on. But you can change whether or not you do it. It depends on if you hold it down or not.
Oh, it's in slow motion. Oh. Yo, shout out to Louis. Ooh. Damn, knife right into the skull. God, that's brutal.
Zoom in on the face right after. That was great.
Yeah, you gotta see it again. Yeah, this is just devastating, man. It's those little things that Frosty does, right? He gets under your skin with the gameplay. You know, it's not his words after the game. He's he's pretty soft spoken on the stage. He lets his actions talk. He shows why he's better. He puts on the animations. He finds triple kills in every game. He's just one of those players that is the X factor for a team. He puts anyone over the edge. And honestly, it feels like that's the reason why Sentinels has just been so dominant for so long. You rarely see spurts of greatness for this experience, like for this long, like in esports, period. Like I can't think of another esports team that's just like, what is it, like 6 years now that the Sentinels roster has been like top one, like they're the team to beat. It's just been such a dominating performance from these guys for so long.
I mean, watching Frosty, so smooth, right? It's just his movement is amazing. I mean, all these guys for sure, but even just you know, through the highlights there, he just knows exactly what it takes to get to certain areas of the map, and then the right angles to take, you know, the right range for the weapons. Like, I don't know, something about, as I'm sure as all you guys know, watching Halo after these tournaments, you're like, yeah, okay, I can do that. You know, you get online with matchmaking and you try and make it happen, and sometimes you do well, right? But these guys are just on a whole another level. Looking back here again at the Sentinels stats, team stats, this is for the HCS Pro Series Season 1 and 2. Throughout the championships and the pros, and yeah, they've really proven themselves to be a phenomenal team. First, in many of them, Strongholds being their best here, and you know, but through that, you know, look at those KDs, right? Their objective play is one thing, and then they couple that really well with their ability to slay, and that's what makes it a great Halo a great game, is that it really takes, you know, different types of knowledge for all of it, and then blending it all together to make it work. And Sentinels does a great job at doing that.
Yeah, and what we see about Sentinels is just consistency, right? Like, yeah, they're first in Strongholds. I mean, they're dominant, 24-4, 25-4 now, really. And then I just love to look at that KD and be like, okay, well, they don't really have a weak point, right? You have opportunities to take maps on them in different game types. Like, you know, they have 9 losses. Like, there's opportunities to take it off them. But you can tell they're going to play hard every single time. There's not like one where it's going to be like, okay, they're considerably worse at Oddball than Slayer, or they're considerably worse at Flag than Stronghold. So you'll find your opportunities there. They're just like this strong wall that is just built to perfection, and it's so hard to find weaknesses, and there really isn't any. You have to just have a bulldozer that's extra fortified and push through them, and it's really hard to do so as we see this first group. San Diego Fire, you know, unfortunate draw for that lot. San Diego Fire, Magnanimous, Elevate, and Sentinels all in the same group. That is a filthy group.
Yeah, I'm curious. Once our next caster gets in here, I'll have some more updates for you guys in real time about how these teams are doing. But yeah, that's gonna be rough from them. Moving on, Group B here, status quo, KC Pioneers, very familiar, love that squad. Injured and Bad, and like I just mentioned, Baba Booey doing relatively well and really sticking it to Magnanimous in the open. We'll see how they play today. Teams are probably finishing up their round 1, round 2, gonna be starting relatively soon.
Yeah, honestly, and this is the other one that I was looking at that I was like, okay, we could see some interesting things happen here. Scared Money was a squad that played very close. That's Bards' team. It's like Bards naming them, but Inconceivable and Flyers, I have them two coming out of that. But Scared Money, look out for them. I think they could potentially pull an upset versus that Flyers roster if they're playing very hot. It's going to be a tough road for them to get out. I have Inconceivable and Flyers getting out of there, but Scared Money obviously have a chance to make something happen. Let's take a look over at that Group D and see if we can see some potential matchups over there. Oh God, Cloud9 and Cobra Kai. Now the team to watch out for there, Kingdom. Cobra Kai, they got second place in our Open last week, right? They've been playing extremely well. That's Swish, Bohm X, Eli Elite, and Nemesis. But that Kingdom roster, which is like Kilimanjaro and them, they could make an upset versus Cobra Kai, but I do have Cloud9 and Cobra Kai getting out of there. That being said, like those bottom 3 teams, they're very they're close.
Yeah.
They have competitive matches. Cloud9, obviously, you know, a top tier organization with top tier players. They're going to be a tough team to beat. If any team in that pool has potential to upset Cloud9, I'd be putting it over on Cobra Kai. But Kingdom, if there's a team to make it out of there that doesn't, that, you know, like you wouldn't expect, I'd say it's that Kingdom squad.